This is QTV News. I am Mubraak and thanks for joining us. First, the main local, business, international and sports news headlines. In the local news, President Adama Barrow will depart on Wednesday to the Upper River region where he will preside over the inauguration of various projects. The Minister for Agriculture, Amie Fabureh, has distributed machinery to farmers in Ndungu Kebbeh, Kerr, Ardo and Kinteh, Kunda, Janneh-ya. The Gambia Civil Aviation Authority, in collaboration with the International Civil Aviation Organization, has organized a two-day seminar on international air law. In international news, former Egyptian President Hosni Mubraak has died. And 2 months after Guinea-Bissau's hotly contested presidential election went to a second round, the country's electoral commission announced a recount. Welcome and thanks for joining us. This is QTV News. Now to the local news in detail. A fire outbreak has completely destroyed the main market in Basse. The fire started on the night of Monday, the 23rd of February, and despite the best efforts of local firefighters and residents, they were unable to save the building. QTV has a team on the ground and we have a special report on the fire and its aftermath. We have spoken to local residents, shopkeepers, firefighters, as well as local government officials.
The fire is reported to have started at around 6 p.m. when almost all the vendors had closed business transactions at the central market. The shop owners are left with almost nothing to sell. Receiving the shocking news of the incident, shop owners and residents of Basse are out in their numbers. They can only do little to quench the blazing and raging fire as it rages and spreads across all corners of the market. We are brothers who own shops in the market. We had 3 shops and everything is burned to ashes. We are seeking help from all Gambians and government. I had a shop in the market. We couldn't do anything to stop the fire. We have lost all our goods. It is in my shop where I used to keep my money, and all is lost to the fire. The market structures are razed to the ground, goods burned, leaving the shop owners with an unquantifiable damage. This is the market where the entire community of Basse and its surrounding depend for household shopping. Gambia Fire and Rescue Services in Basse have responded, but with only one operating fire engine, they are unable to put out the fire. Bansang fire rescue officers are called for rescue assistance.
Around 7:30 up to this morning, we are unable to control this fire incident. But at the moment, it is controlled and almost everything is calm now.
However, with very limited capacity of their tanks, more force is needed. Authorities on the ground have called on their neighbor for help. Senegalese firefighters are called on for a bigger force to tackle the fire disaster. And it takes them less time to respond with full force and capacity. There is also rescue assistance by the Chinese road and bridge constructors at the Upper River region. The governor of the Upper River region, Fantas Samatemane, blames people's failure to pay heed to the advice of the area council to leave space in their market. The governor plus NDMA, fire rescue and security officers are on the ground to assess the disaster and find possible and necessary actions for solutions.
Leading to those that sell in the market, the canteen owners, let them abide by the laws of the market, because we have laws that are abiding the rules and regulations of this market. So they have to listen to it. And again, as at now, the NDMA, the Red Cross, the security, we are going to set a team. That team is already set and they are coming up with a rapid assessment results that will help us to know quickly what is the content, who are the owners of the stores that have got fire, and what can we do to support them.
The chairman of the Basse Area Council for the Danjo reacts to the incident.
Next for the area council is only to construct a new market, because the market cannot be renovated. If we see this, we check the percentage of damage on the market, on the place, you'll definitely know that the market cannot be renovated. It has to be constructed, newly constructed. And if we are constructing it newly, we have to put in consideration that access road that people are complaining of, plus hydrants, fire hydrants were not available here. If a fire service have to fill their tanks, they have to run up to Mansajan. to refill their tanks and come back also. That also delayed everything. So that's one of our things that we want to do. That is it was initially planned when I came into office that the market I was going to construct it to a one floor market, and we have that plan. We're selling out that plan, and I'm 100% so before the end of this year we surely start the construction, which a partner is by God's power.
The cause of the fire is still unknown, but there is widespread speculation that it was caused by an electric fault. There is heavy presence of armed personnel of the Gambia Armed Forces after some attempts of looting while the fire ravaged the market. The fire victims are now calling for support from Gambians and the government. It will take them time to rise from such an overwhelming loss. Mahmoud Lamin Choi for QTV News.
President Adama Barrow will depart on Wednesday to the Upper River region, where he will preside over the inauguration of various projects. QTV's Aliu Cisse spoke to the Director of Press and Public Relations, Amie Fabureh, and he now reports.
The projects to be inaugurated during the President's week-long stay in the Upper River region are the over 100-kilometer Lamenkoto-Pasamas Road, the Gambia College Annex in Basse, and the hydrological headquarters in Bansang. The Lamenkoto-Pasamas Road, which commenced under the former government and completed under President Barrow, took 36 months to complete. It was jointly funded by the Saudi Fund for Development, Kuwait Fund for Arab Economic Development, OPEC Fund for International Development, Arab Bank for Economic Development in Africa, BADIA, Abu Dhabi Fund for Development, and the Gambia government. The Gambia College Annex in Basse, another project to be inaugurated, is funded by the MRC Holland Foundation. It has already commenced classes and will greatly help provide training for aspiring teachers in rural Gambia in diploma and advanced diploma in primary education for a start. The President's last engagement will see him preside over the handing over of hydrological headquarters in Bansang before he returns to Banjul for the inauguration of the Sukuta Jambanjili Road on 7th March. Speaking to QTV, Amie Fabureh, Director of Press and Public Relations at the Office of the President, said preparations are on course while explaining the importance of the projects to lives and livelihood of the people.
These are very important development projects in the sense that roads are linked with many other development issues. For instance, the access to marketing of agricultural products. Roads will ease that burden for people to say, now we can go further to be able to reach out to the farmers, and the farmers do not have to maybe worry that much to how can a vehicle enter this place. So that burden is uplifted by this road network. But also, if you look at it in the area of health, access to health facilities, I have traveled that road. I have seen how a woman was put on a donkey cart trying to access a health facility. So this road means that now you can have proper ambulances on the road. The Basse College provides a lot, not only in the area of education, but access to education to rural communities who, for example, maybe let's say 10% would have come to Banjul or the greater Banjul area to access that type of higher education opportunity. Now that it is in the area, you are decentralizing development. You are making people feel that they can access this. It's part of their lives and it is their right absolutely to have it. So I think these are very important projects. When you talk about the hydrological headquarters, water is very important. It's very much linked to health and life, as we know. So it is important that you have such a headquarter in that part of the country where they can go deeper into looking at the state of our water, the quality, the quantity, and all the technical things they need to do to be able to support the development and livelihood of people.
DPP Arsisoho used the interview to send out this message to Gambians in relation to national development.
We can build the nation we want. It is not only the president that can build a nation. The president is the leader to guide and monitor and supervise and give guidance to what we need to do. But when it comes to the implementation and making things real, let us always think about how many Gambians have been deprived for you to be in that opportune position to take a decision that affects the lives of thousands of Gambians. Therefore, make it a commitment, a national duty to say that you will serve this country for the sake of the country and for its people.
While the people of URR, Sierra and the Gambia in general prepare for the landmark events, they will use the occasion to thank and praise the government of Adama Barrow and as well renew their support of President Barrow. On the other hand, President Barrow will use the events and projects to gather and perhaps win political support ahead of the 2021 election. Reporting for QTV News, I am Aliu Cisse.
A former Deputy Minister of Agriculture, Usman Jammeh, and Lamin Dabo, a former nurse assistant at the Brikama Health Center, Tuesday testified at the ongoing TRRC proceedings. Their testimonies focused mainly on the alleged assault, unlawful arrest and detention by officials of the NIA. QTV's Ansumana Sunyasi has more.
Forced to testify was Usman Jammeh, who told the Commission that in 2012, as a Regional Director of Agriculture in CRR, he presided over a meeting between members of the Sapo Cooperative Union in a bid to solve an internal dispute. However, he alleged he was accused by some farmers of supporting opposition supporters in the region who he alleged connived with former National Assembly member Honorable Yoram Ballo to report him to State House. As a result, former Agri Director Ibrahim Jawara was tasked to investigate the matter. To his surprise, he alleged Jawara had implicated him in his report, and as a result, he was subsequently arrested, detained at the NIA for 2 weeks and transferred to Mile 2 prison, where he was detained until the change of government in 2017 when he was released.
Were you let to go home?
Video handing over Yakulu signed in a table Bampuri say.
Young continent the NIA headquarters.
They took me to the NIA headquarters.
Okay, 15, 16.
On the 15th and 16th of October.
17 you moved to Mile 2.
On the 17th, I was moved to Mile 2. Were you charged with an offense before you were moved to Mile 2?
Jamni Besambala Mile 2. Ye to me kule kebal.
I was not charged for anything.
Were you informed of the reasons for your detention?
Fodung inatadali lolu fene fana munana iye muta.
They did not give me any reasons, even though I asked for the reasons.
Were you allowed to contact a lawyer?
No.
He went on to testify that during his detention, he was not allowed access to his family or a lawyer and was detained at the maximum security wing. Next to testify was Lamin Dabo, a former senior Red Cross volunteer and one-time nurse assistant at the Brikama Health Center. Dabo told the Commission he was assaulted by an NIA officer who accused him of insulting ex-President Jammeh, an allegation he denies. He alleged that while in a scuffle with his accuser, a group of Green Boys also assaulted him. He told the Commission he was then taken to the Brikama police station where he was detained, stripped naked and tortured by PIU officers. He alleged he sustained injuries on his body as a result of the torture.
I told green all fana imanna nyinin kar kede imanta nyinin ka.
When they came, the green, they did not ask any questions. They didn't ask me anything.
Itolie menke wolem ka ntemuta kan lipa dol ben lipa la kebul la dol ni la imbatino le dentana wala nyam kan lipa lala.
What they did was to start beating me up. Some were beating me up with their batons, while others used their whips and they were beating me constantly, just like that.
Furthermore, the witnesses in 2013, he was again arrested after being accused of selling medical drugs to a patient at the Brikama Health Center, an allegation he also denies. He went on to testify how his ordeal with the NIA and PIU officers had negatively impacted his life and that of his family members. Ansumana Nyasi for QTV News.
The Minister for Agriculture, Amie Fabureh, has distributed machinery to farmers in Ndungu Kebbeh, Kerr, Ardo and Kinteh, Kunda, Janneh-ya. Babu Kersi is with the delegation and he now files in this report.
Farmers in Ndungu Kebbeh in the Lower Nyomi district expressed delight and appreciation on receiving a rice milling machine from the government through the Agriculture Minister. They said it will help relieve them from having to use manpower to mill their rice. Aji Kumba Gay, women's representative of the village, thanked the minister for recognizing their efforts and coming to their aid. She, however, told the minister that they will be even happier if the government could also provide them with a coarse milling machine, as a lot of them rely on machines being brought in from Senegal to mill their produce. According to her, another challenge they face is water shortage. She explained that for the past 2 months, they have to wake up at 4 a.m. to find water, as there is only one functioning well in the village on which the whole community relies. Responding to their concerns, the Agriculture Minister assured them of government's full support and that the government, through her ministry, will do its best to satisfy their needs. At Kerr Ardo in Lower Badibu, farmers were given a power tiller, rice milling machine and a roughed grain machine. Here, the ministerial delegation included the Minister for Agriculture, the Minister for Information, Communication and Infrastructure, Ibrahim Silla, and the Minister for Environment and Climate Change, Lamin Diba. The villagers expressed appreciation to President Barrow's government for fulfilling the promise made during the President's Meet the People's tour. The Minister for Environment, Lamin Diba, reminded the people of Kerr Ardo that the government has taken a huge step to encourage and promote mechanized agriculture.
We have to thank the Minister of Agriculture, that's Amie Fabureh. We have to thank him because this is long overdue. The people of community have been living for so long, and this is the first time I would say that such garden equipments or such agricultural equipments have been brought here in Kerr Ardo. This is the first of its kind, I would say.
At Kinteh, Kunda, Janneh-ya, farmers received a power tiller and a coarse grain milling machine. The ministerial delegation also visited the women's vegetable garden, where more than 200 women earn a living. The women told the delegation that access to water is a challenge and there is no fencing for the garden, resulting in animals invading the garden. They call on the government and NGOs to come to their aid. Babu Karsi, QTV News.
A delegation from Spain, including one of the European nation former health minister, Cameron Martin, is on a study visit to the country to see and discuss possible ways to support the health sector. Alucise has more details.
Speaking to reporters shortly after meeting with the delegation at his office in Banjul, Dr. Ahmadu Lamin Samate, the Gambia's Minister of Health, said the meeting is a follow-up of meetings held some time ago in Spain.
They are part of a foundation called the Adelante Foundation, and in collaboration with the Draman Foundation, they want to partner with the government, especially the Ministry of Health, to strengthen our universal health coverage process in the Gambia. You know, the Gambia, just as every other nation, is now thinking of giving universal health coverage to its citizenry. Certainly, universal health coverage is the right thing to do because every citizen deserves and should get satisfactory healthcare services without causing catastrophic expenditure for the patient.
Among the areas of focus for the delegation is having a medical electronic record system for the country, which Minister Samate describes as very important.
It makes obtaining patient information, medical information very easy, and then it enhances follow-up. So a patient seen anywhere, for example, Basse, if that patient comes to Banjul, the records will be in the system. The patient probably will not remember his or her own medical information, but if it is in the system, the new doctor who is seeing in Banjul or Kunda will have access to such records. So this is how beautiful it is, and this is how efficient it is, and this is how it can enhance healthcare delivery in the Gambia.
The head of the delegation and former Spain's health minister, Carmen Montin, said they are happy to be in the country to foster cooperation to improve health service delivery.
Universal health is worth fighting for because it really changes people's life. Initiatives like this are the ones that make a difference in countries to work for equality and for the social welfare. We share your vision or health as a right. Thank you very much, and I'm very excited to be in this country and to live this moment in your democracy.
Nyanya D. Ture, president of the Draman Foundation, who facilitated the visit of the delegation, explains what will follow after the visit.
Foundation, we believe that healthcare and primary education are basic human rights. So we believe in healthcare for all, we believe in education for all, we believe in decentralization, empowering communities to improve people's lives. So we are very much aligned with the team from Spain, and most importantly, support our ministry. We know government cannot do it all. We also truly believe it's unfair to criticize the government if we each don't play our role and add value. So we're just working under the ministry in line with their vision and help sort of provide support to make this a reality for all Gambians.
The delegation will, among other critical players in the health sector, meet members of the National Assembly and UN agencies.
A two-day seminar on international law for key aviation stakeholders was organized on Monday by the Gambia Civil Aviation Authority in collaboration with the International Civil Aviation Organization. Amadou Oba attended the event and he now reports.
The two-day seminar gives stakeholders an opportunity to collectively review and update ICAO legal instruments with a view to bringing about collective appreciation and conformity across the board. Ibrahim Bojang, Chairman, Board of Directors, Gambia Civil Aviation Authority, challenges delegates to critically but objectively look at the issues up for discussion during the seminar, describing it as a significant milestone.
It is my hope that at the end of these 2 days gathering, participants will have greater appreciation of emerging issues relating to international air law, as well as renewed energy and focus as we evolve in the dynamic aviation industry.
On behalf of the Minister of Transport, Works and Infrastructure, Mamadou Cissé, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Works, expresses appreciation to ICAO for choosing the Gambia to host this critical convergence. He adds that the Gambia continues to take a leading role in the area of aviation safety oversight in West Africa.
Despite some challenges, the Gambia Civil Aviation Authority continues to take the lead in ensuring that we meet our international obligation as a country. We will also continue to encourage everybody to make sure that our position as a leading country in Africa in terms of compliance with international civil aviation, convention, regulation, protocols, annexes, among others, is further enhanced.
Benoit Verheyen, Legal Affairs and External Relations Bureau with ICAO, says the presence and participation of over 70 professionals from about 30 states should be an indication of the growing popularity of the legal seminars in the field of aviation law.
This seminar, with your presence here, is an additional step in the implementation of this Assembly resolution. The Assembly further calls upon states that have not already done so to establish positions of dedicated in-house legal advisors for their civil aviation administrations. We hope that you will continue to receive the support of your state on that basis. And we see with pleasure that we have a strong counterparts here in the Gambia.
In his keynote address on behalf of the Justice Minister, Cherno Marena, the Solicitor General, says great efforts have been made for the enhancement of air transport connectivity between the Gambia and other parts of the world as per international guidelines and standards.
Ministry of Justice is committed to assisting the Gambia Civil Aviation Authority to ensure that the Gambia ratifies all outstanding legal instruments and also fully implements all the regulatory provisions encapsulated in these instruments. The Gambia has signed the Single African Air Transport Market and the Memorandum of Implementation as we strive to contribute to the actualization of a single African sky.
The Gambia Civil Aviation Authority, GCAA, has a mission to provide the best airport and air navigation facilities in the sub-region and to regulate air transport to international standards while generating a reasonable return on investments. For QTV News, I am Amadou Oba.
We will go for a short commercial break, and when we come back, in international news, we look back on the life of former Egyptian President Hosni Mubraak. And a big surprise in Guinea-Bissau as the Electoral Commission announces a recount 2 months after the presidential elections. Join us after the break for these stories, sports news and more.
Oh yes! QCell has exhausted the number 3 series, the 50, 51, 52 and 53 number series. We are expanding and introducing another new number series starting with 58 and 59. With the 58 and 59 numbers, you can call any QCell number for the same on-net charges. You get the same great service at the exact same charges offered to numbers in the 3, 50, 51, 52 and 53 series. The family is even bigger now. For more information, call customer care on 111. QCell, we innovate, others follow.
Welcome back, and thank you very much if you're just joining us. This is QTV News. Now to international news. Egyptian state media has reported the death of former President Hosni Mubraak. Mubraak, who ruled Egypt for 3 decades and was ousted by mass protest in 2011, died of health complications at a Cairo hospital where he had undergone an unspecified surgery. Again, according to Egyptian state broadcasters, Mubarak's death came after a matter of days after charges against his sons were dropped after dragging on for years. In his 30 years in office, Mubarak traveled the world and met several regional and world leaders as he tried to position Egypt and himself as arbitrators in some of the world's most intricate conflicts. However, at home, his popularity waned as it became clear he intended to become president for life. There were mass protests in 2011, including one in Tahrir Square, said to have been the biggest in Egypt's history, with an estimated 2 million people turning out demanding he step down. During his time in office, there were accusations that he put greater store in relations with the Arab world and the Middle East than with sub-Saharan Africa. He did even visit the Gambia. Still on international news, on to Guinea-Bissau now. In January of this year, Umaru Sissoco Embalo visited the Gambia as the president-elect of Guinea-Bissau and paid a courtesy call on President Adama Barrow. Just over a month after that visit, Embalo's tenure as president is in jeopardy. Guinea-Bissau's National Electoral Commission has ruled that there is going to be a recount of the votes. The result has been challenged as soon as it was announced. The January visit came only a day after Guinea-Bissau Supreme Court threw out a legal bid by Mr. Embalo's opponent to overturn the result. It is perhaps unsurprising that the Electoral Commission has ordered a recount. When the case was thrown out by the court, the judge has said the reason for rejecting the case was that the appellant had not exhausted the Electoral Commission's appeal process. Embalo, 47, has previously served as Prime Minister between 2016 and 2018 before ascending to the presidency in the recently held presidential elections, in which he secured 53% of the vote cast. The recount is likely to happen soon, and it remains to be seen whether it throws up a markedly different result. Now to the latest sports news. Let's join my colleague Ansumana Eso Nyasi. Eso, what do we have in the world of sports?
Many thanks, Gajaga. We begin on the local front as BK Milan have issued a public announcement soliciting for financial assistance to be able to cater for the club's captain's had surgery. Unfortunately, he's been battling this illness for the past 18 months and was diagnosed with a serious heart membrane in one of the hospitals in Dakar. Modu Silla, who the club in their statement say has been very instrumental to the club's promotion during the 2017-2018 season to the GFF top tier division league. Unfortunately, he's been battling this illness, and the main hurdle for the club and his family remains that his surgery would cost around 19,000 euros, and they're asking for assistance from the members of the public as well as government and of course NGOs and anybody who could help to make sure that he gets back to his feet and playing football again. Now over now to other news on the continent, as the fixtures have been confirmed for the African Nations Championship, which is scheduled to take place in April in Cameroon, and the host nation Cameroon will begin their pursuit of winning their first title in the CHAN competition against Zimbabwe, which will take place on the 4th of April. And then on the 6th of April, Morocco will take on Togo in Cameroon. Now talking about Zimbabwe, they have released a statement, that is the Zimbabwean Football Association, otherwise known as ZIFA, that CAF have communicated their decision to them that they've been banned from hosting any international football match, and that is because their national stadium as well as other two stadiums where they've been playing international matches do not meet CAF's requirements, unfortunately. I'm afraid that's all we have for you for sports today.
Before we end this bulletin of the news, let's have a quick look at our main news stories. President Adama Barrow will depart on Wednesday to the Upper River region, where he will preside over the inauguration of various projects. The Minister for Agriculture, Amie Fabureh, has distributed machinery to farmers in Ndungu Kebbeh, Kerr, Ardo and Kinteh, Kunda, Janneh-ya. The Gambia Civil Aviation Authority, in collaboration with the International Civil Aviation Organization, has organized a two-day seminar on international air law. In international news, former Egyptian President Hosni Mubraak has died. And 2 months after Guinea-Bissau's hotly contested presidential election went to a second round, the country's electoral commission announces a recount. That's all in this edition of the news. Join us tomorrow for more news. Have a good night.